Welcome to the Global Business Women's Pod, brought to you by the Greater Houston Women's Chamber of Commerce. I am Susan Dyson and proud to be the CEO, President, and founder of the Chamber. Please join us for this empowering podcast every Thursday at 6 p.m.
So first, I want to introduce to the stage Sarah. And Sarah works here at Chevron as well. She's here in the front row. Come on up, Jack. You're mic'd up, yeah? Sarah's going to talk about managing priorities. And Sarah's the General Manager of Strategy and Innovation, Data, and Insights here at Chevron Corporation. In this role, she's responsible for setting corporate strategic vision for data and insights. She joined Chevron just in 2022, but I'll get a little bit further on where she came from. Sarah started her professional career at ExxonMobil. We won't hold that against her. I love my ExxonMobil people. I just had to give a little plug there that, you know, Chevron. In her 17 years there, she held various roles in increasing responsibility in data and in AI, strategic planning, and scientific computing. Before joining Chevron, she served as ExxonMobil's head of AI operations, and throughout her career, she managed external relationships with academia and leading industry business partners. She's a reputed leader in leading digital transformation initiatives in the energy industry, which is super important right now. Thank you. Sarah is also a strong advocate for women in STEM and STEM programs alike. In 2015, she received the Tribute to Women in Industry Award, honoring women who excel in their field and make significant contributions to energy industry, say that 5 times fast, in executive, managerial, and professional roles. In 2021, she was named one of the 25 influential women in energy in recognition of her outstanding work to accelerate AI, enabling data-driven decision-making across the oil and gas value chain. She has a master's degree in electrical engineering from Tennessee Tech University and an advanced graduate credentials from Harvard University and Columbia Business School. Please help me in welcoming Sarah.
Thank you, Julie, for that lovely introduction. I know it does feel a little awkward when somebody is reading your bio and you're standing right there on stage. So let's get the presentation on the screen. One sec.
Make it bigger for you. Maybe Chevron's going, hey, what are you doing?
Okay, there it is. There
All
it
right.
is. Awesome.
And you've got the clicker. If not, I'll stay here just in case it doesn't work.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect technology, right? So, folks, first of all, I am beyond excited to be standing here in front of you, to be addressing this group of amazing women and our male allies. It is awesome to see you all. I was just talking to somebody earlier, and might I also add some of the best dressed people I've seen. I mean, check out her shoes, right? Like, okay, I mean, I'm taking tips. When Julie reached out to me about this event, and when she shared the theme was about managing priorities, the first thought that went through my head was, how can I help? What a great topic, and how can I help? And so when I learned that I was going to become the keynote speaker for this event, the first thing that I did was tap into my network of just amazing women leaders. So what you're going to hear today is just not my thoughts and my learnings, but the collective wisdom of amazing women leaders across. And I'm talking about women leaders who are currently working for the White House and managing national priorities, to awesome women leaders who are managing their homes, who are great friends of mine at my church. Right? So what you're going to listen to is the collective wisdom of all these folks. I will also say that being here is super exciting for me because I am really looking forward to sharing my personal story with you. So that is my intent, to make this personal so that we can connect at a different level. So what I want to do is I want to start out by sharing a little bit about myself. And this is not what you heard from the bio, right? So this is what I would like to call beyond the bio. For me, it really helps to connect with the speaker. The message resonates with me better if I'm able to connect with the speaker. So it's a little bit about myself. We'll start with that. And let's see how this works. And it does. Very good. So what you see here, I was hoping that you could see this picture, which is great. This is my family. I am married to my husband, Michael Karthigan, for 22 years. We met at school in this school called Tennessee Tech in this itty-bitty town in Cookeville, Tennessee. Our life story, our love story, trust me, can be a Bollywood movie, right? So how many of you here are familiar with Bollywood movies? Okay, that's a good number. So you know the recipe for a successful Bollywood movie, right? There's a little bit of everything, right? It's a musical, it's a drama, it's a romance. I mean, you name it. It's just a little bit of everything in it. And trust me, like our love story is really a good Bollywood movie. I just hope I am able to sell the story to a director someday, right? It has all the components. We prevailed against all odds, and yes, you know, we got married, and now we have two beautiful daughters. Tamara is my older one, and she is 17 years old. She is a senior in high school, getting ready to leave the nest. I still can't take it, so I don't know how I'm going to deal with it. The younger one, Arian, is in middle school, and she's 12 years old. Our family would be incomplete without our fur baby, Asher, and so we got him during COVID. One of the best decisions that we made. He really, really completes our family. So that's us. I'm not going to go through the rest of it, right? You already heard from my bio, so I have spent almost close to 2 decades in the oil and gas space. I'm very passionate about energy. Seriously think that's where the future is for energy transition. It's this sector that's going to lead it. Have spent quite a bit of my time at Exxon and now with Chevron. The one thing I want to draw your attention to is I have, like all of you, a few passions in life. I'm really passionate about STEAM, right? So STEM and the arts combined. Very passionate about that. Most passionate about promoting women in STEM. So I want to see more of us, right? That we are no longer just a minority, but instead we have an equal seat at the table. Now, in addition to that, I'm also very passionate about data and AI and strategy. So I couldn't help myself but start this presentation by giving you some data. So here goes. Some facts about us. This is the reality of modern STEM women. So this is a study that was done by CNBC, and it's a pretty recent study. So I'm thinking it was either beginning of this year or end of last year. So it's a recent study, and this is what the study revealed. 5 to 8 times women are more likely to have their career impacted by caregiving obligations. So I look at that number and I'm thinking, number one, not surprising, right? I mean, is it surprising for anybody here? Not so surprised, okay? As a matter of fact, I would have expected for it to be more than just 5 to 8 times. So, okay, that's one statistic. Let's look at the next one. 56% claim that they were burned out or suffered mental health at work. Okay, that is a significant statistic. And when you look at the trend, in 2022, it was 53%. So clearly, it's not trending in the right direction, right? 56% feel that they are burned out or they suffered mentally at work. And then 50% of women with children under 18 years of age are concerned that flexible work arrangements will harm their career. That's a pretty significant percentage as well. Now you look at these numbers, you look at these statistics, and what you see is it points to just really one thing. At its core, it comes down to managing priorities. That's what we're dealing with here. And one can look at these numbers and go, you know, it's like those are numbers on a page. right? Yep, we see the trend not looking great, but again, those are numbers on a page. So what does it look like in real life when we're talking about managing priorities? So this is where I want to share with you my story and my learnings when it comes to managing priorities. So, as you saw in the picture on the previous slide, I have 2 daughters, right? So, right after my younger daughter was born, I returned to work after 3 months of maternity leave. I was so ready. I need to go back. And I was offered a great assignment, right? It was one of those really coveted assignments at work. It was a very visible assignment. It was in strategic planning, something that I'm very passionate about. So I was super excited. I was ready to give it my all, do what it takes. So to care for our baby, we got a nanny. We could afford one. So grateful. Great. I was super busy at work. I was working nights and weekends. And you could tell I pretty much outsourced my baby's care to this nanny, right? It's like, okay, the nanny is there. We got this. I can do this. And I have to show at work, what I can do, what I can offer, all of this stuff. So I'm super busy. I vividly remember it was a spring break one time, and my husband was out of the country. My older daughter was out of school, so I decided to take vacation. It's more like a staycation. But I remember working that entire duration, right? Just busy, work. And sure enough, things were progressing very well at work. My kids were growing up, and the company decided that it's time for me to move to my next assignment. So it was great. I mean, I clearly did well, and they wanted to promote me and move me to my next role. My next role took me to New Jersey, and I know it's not a different part of the world. It's just within the United States, but it was almost as good as like moving to a different part of the world. So we are packing up here, ready to move to New Jersey. And we decided, you know what? And by that time, my younger daughter Arian is about 2 years old, 2.5. So we decided, okay, we're not going to go with the nanny option. We're going to go and put her in a daycare, right? So sign her up for a good school. We're going to go there. So all set. We go, we land in New Jersey, we sign up for this really good school, really good daycare. And this mom sense, this spidey sense, something told me like, no, this time we should not go with the nanny. We should just go with the daycare. So I was like, okay. So we did that. And it's all set up, it's all ready to go. And I am first day of work, I'm ready to drop her off. And this child is a mess. Like, she would not even get off the car seat, right? And so she's in tears and she's bawling, and it was just not a pretty scene. So here I am, like, okay, oh God, like yanking her out of the seat, and like it's gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. It's gonna be great. And then I'm ready to drop her off. So I go drop her off, hand her off to the teachers. And I'm ready, right? I'm like, okay, and she's still crying. It's just awful. She's like in this like puddle of tears. And I'm like, okay, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. And so I go to work, and I'm like, okay, I can't come in looking. My heart is broken, but I can't come looking like like I'm a mess. So like, okay, yeah, everything is fine. So I work, and yes, end of the day, I'm ready to go pick her back up, and okay, things would have changed. She'd be smiling. I go back, and she's in the same state. And she is still crying. And I asked her teachers, like, what happened? And they said, no, she did not stop crying the whole duration, right? She didn't eat anything. So we're like, okay, first day, that's how it's going to be. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. And sure enough, day after day, there were no signs of it getting better. She almost became a rag doll. And we had no clue. And we're just telling ourselves, she's just having a tough time adjusting, right? It'll get better. It'll get better. But no signs at all. And I'm so grateful that the teachers at the daycare, they intervened. So they set up a meeting with me and they said, okay, we need to have a conversation. We are concerned about her. And I'm like, well, what do you mean, right? Tell me more. And well, they're like, well, this is not how kids behave. It's been a while and she's still struggling. We need to do something. And I said, what do you mean, right? Like, okay, we don't have any challenges. Everything is perfect at home. Like, I don't know what you mean. Anyways, they suggested that my husband and I, take to a doctor and find out what's going on, right? There's something clearly bothering this child and this is not normal. I said, okay, all right. Now I had noticed stuff. She was almost 2.5 years old and she wasn't talking as much. Well, my older one, I remember, she was bilingual already, right? When she was close to 2, speaking in 2 languages. And there was just a lot of goo-goos and gagas with this child. I'm like, what is going on? So I knew something didn't seem right, but every kid develops at their own pace, right? So that's what I was telling myself. And I was like, everything is going to be fine. Anyways, so we go to the doctor and wow, were we in for a surprise? There was just a slew of medical issues that was impeding with her development. And you can imagine, ladies, my whole world came crumbling down. I felt the weight of guilt more than anything, and it weighed a ton. It was not good. Because deep inside me, I felt I did not give her the time and care when she needed. We could have spotted things earlier, but I was so busy doing other stuff that I did not see this coming. It was clearly a time for us to sit down and reassess our priorities. Specifically me. It was important for me to sit down and reassess what are my true priorities in life. It was obvious this child needed us now. She needed early intervention, and she needed us to make her our top priority. So long story short, today she's a success story. She doesn't have any learning disabilities, doing great at school. For me, it is nothing short of a miracle. So, I mean, glory to God, right? I'm so excited to see her, how she's doing now. But this experience taught me very, very valuable lessons when it comes to managing priorities. And what's interesting is, I mentioned this before, I tapped into my network when I found out I was doing the keynote of women leaders to find out what did they do to navigate their priorities. And it was interesting that what they were sharing and what I had personally experienced, they were all converging, right? I was like, oh, you know what? I mean, yes, that's exactly what I learned for myself in my life. And what I want to share with you today is those key themes that I observe, right? Emerging, converging. So very quickly, here are the themes. Starting with understand your values and let your values dictate your boundaries. So how many of you here are familiar with the Dare to Lead work by Brené Brown? Exactly. So there's a segment in that work that talks about know your values, right? And there is this laundry list of values out there. You go through that list and you're like, yep, that's valuable to me, that's valuable to me, that's valuable to me. Everything is, yes, valuable. But the challenge that Brené puts forward is narrow it down to 2 values, right? And you may start with 1, but if you ask yourself why enough number of times, it would take you down to what you truly value, what is a non-negotiable in your life. I strongly recommend you all do going through that exercise. It is worth it. It helped identify for me what are my true values, what is non-negotiable, and let those values dictate your boundaries, right? Those values help you discern when to say no and what boundary you need to set. The next theme that I observed was community, right? Seek support, build your network. Build your network inside work too. Extremely important. And that is where these employee resource groups, like Women Employee Network, Mark, I mean, just fantastic opportunities, but build that support network. And be okay to ask for help when you need it. And shamelessly delegate. That's totally okay. But make sure you have that support network built. Last but not least, embrace growth and self-care. Ladies, you matter. The question is, do you matter to yourself? Sometimes we are the last on the list, right? It's just we're so busy taking care of everything that there's no time. And there's no time literally. She just showed me time's up. So that's the point, right? So make sure you prioritize yourself and be in that mode of constant and continuous learning. So I want to leave you all, as I conclude, with a call for action. So I attended the Women's Forum for Society and Economy, and it was such a great experience. And I heard this quote that just absolutely resonated with me. Unfortunately, I don't have the name of the person who said that, so it's an anonymous quote, but it stuck with me. And that's what I want to leave you with, right? So it's about leaving the door more open than you found it. Folks, I'm not talking about like busting open doors or, forging your own path or paving your own path. That's not what I'm talking about. But just leaving the door that you're walking through a little bit more open for the next woman to walk through. We owe it to each other. Let's pay it forward. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria. Sarah, hold on one sec. By the way, I use these every day.
Okay.
I have mine here today. I'm going to thank you for what you did. And let's give her another round of applause. Let's remember that setting boundaries, by the way, Brene Brown's my BFF. She just doesn't know it. I think I have a restraining order. Anyways, secondly, I love the concept of community, right? We need to advocate for each other, right? We can all get jackets, bling it out if you want. Let's have a tribe. Let's do it. And really take care of yourself. And lastly, leave that door open and put a hand out. We need to help each other, both men and women. So thank you, Sarah. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.